And
you don't think this is going to look suspicious, me being like...
Okay, so for those of you guys who may be confused by the fact that there are more than 2 voices right now, that's because we have the entire family, close family, on this podcast right now. So just a few quick introductions. Obviously, this is Mags and Dad's Wholesome Chaos. I am Mags, Maggie.
I'm Dan. I am the dad. And
I'm Shay. I'm the mom and wife.
I'm Eddie. I'm the big brother.
yeah, and so really excited to have the whole family here because it really is a family podcast. From the beginning, every single person here has been involved in making this happen. And now they get to be on the mic and answering some of the questions that you asked along the years and kind of to wrap up the year.
Absolutely. And before we get into the rest of this podcast, let's go ahead and play that intro music.
Mags and Dad's Wholesome Chaos. Mags and Dad's Wholesome Chaos.
Okay, so I just got the nod that it is my turn to talk. We are going into 2022.
Absolutely.
How does everyone feel about that? Like, just knee-jerk reactions. Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
Knee-jerk?
Well,
I said it and then it
immediate
didn't sound
reaction.
right.
Yeah,
knee-jerk
knee-jerk
reaction
reaction.
is usually a negative, like,
I think it's like
Right.
your first
Gut
first
reaction.
Gut
Yeah,
reaction.
yeah.
Like, when I say 2022, what do you feel?
I think hoping for the best, feeling good about it. And I mean, things can only get better, right?
Right.
Right?
Have things
Yeah.
been, on the upswing for you, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling hopeful and excited and kind of, grateful to have another year in the book. I'm enjoying the end of the year for sure. Kind of like the downtime, the Christmas to New Year's holiday break that we're in right now.
Yeah, we're doing a chill New Year's. Yeah, I think I saw a TikTok recently that was saying, they were talking about like how everyone is saying, oh, 2021, like the worst year. And then they were like me sitting back knowing it was one of the best years of my life. And I feel a connection to that a bit. Like there were drastic lows, but there were also drastic highs. And I think it's just funny. There's a weird kind of like, not guilt associated with having a good 2021, but you just like kind of keep your highs down a little bit and you're like, yeah, 2021.
I do.
Man.
Yeah, I think 2021 in my opinion was at least better than 2020.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping for 2022 is it's going to be at least better than 2021. So,
And I think you got to hope for a better, you, to an extent, you get what you're looking for. And so if you're going into it like 2022 is going to suck, oh my gosh, like everything's only going to get worse. Yeah, then you're going to find disappointment.
You get what you look for, exactly.
That's why goals, aspirations, intentions, like New Year's thoughts are really important, right? For people to think about what's going to be different this year. I get a new start effectively. I'm not a big fan of like a New Year's resolution, like this is the year that I XYZ, because typically those fail because people don't follow through on them for the same reasons they never did before. However, I think it's really important to think about your intentions for the year and what this year is going to mean to you in the beginning.
Does anyone, after Dad said he does not like New Year's resolutions, does anyone have any? Or have any goals, if that's better, or just things they want to focus on in the new year?
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, I feel like going back to 2021, that it was
It was a great year for you.
It was, but it was the absolute busiest year of my entire life. I worked harder, longer hours, but thankfully I love what I do. I doing editing, writing, producing. So it was fantastic in that respect, but it was also a lot less sleep. So yeah, 2022 I imagine is going to be a lot more of the same, but making more space in my life to do more of what I love.
Can you let me brag on you a second? Because 2021 has been an amazing year for you. You produced a movie that Eddie actually wrote the score for, Maggie was in, and that was released to music festivals, received awards and
Film
recognition.
festivals.
What did I say, music
Music.
festivals?
It actually did get a music award.
Yeah.
It got a
Or
music award for Eddie's
nod,
score.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you shot a second short film. You've been
Yes.
writing
And
films
directed it.
and directed it. And you've been doing this for a lot of years, but this was the year you really put that plan into action,
Right.
which, no pun intended. And that was
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, it's been, I haven't been doing it for a lot of years. I started it before we had kids. And then when we had kids, I was like, oh no, this is like the best thing ever. And I just thoroughly enjoyed being a mom. That was like my main thing every day. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So then when, in these last couple of years with the kids, moving out and moving on, sort of, I focused back on the writing, producing of my own work.
And you're amazing. And she
Thank
says
you.
yes to everything. And that's why you haven't had a lot of sleep. And to say this is one of your busiest years is like saying a lot, because every day of your life has been extremely busy.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Intentions for the year for me. Before I get to that, I want to talk about like intentions for the podcast. And
Ooh.
out of this time that we have together, people have been asking about our family dynamic, what it was like growing up in this house, which is where you kids fit in, to answer those questions, to talk about, our weird family and what it was like to have a dad who spoke for a living and traveled all over the place. We can go there. We could talk about your amazing mom, and we have some questions about that, including her donating a kidney and what that was all about. We're going to get to that a little later. We could talk about my stuff, but we do that every week. I'd much rather focus on you guys and have the listeners get to know Eddie and Shelia a lot more. And first of all, again, back to your name, which we touched on podcast 1. By the way, can we say this is like podcast 26? That's an even half a year, 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
An exact 6 months of podcasts completed.
Wow.
Cheers.
Cheers
Cheers.
to that. All right, a New Year's toast. There we go.
I feel like 26 weeks doesn't sound like a crazy long time, but yeah, I guess that is a good chunk of the year. And I can't believe the filming of that short film was 2021. Is that right?
We shot it in the first one in 2020.
Gotcha. But
Yeah.
it came out in 2021.
Yeah. We finished the edit and submitted to festivals. 2021 is when it did the circuit.
2021 was, I hit a good bit of the goals I had, which was really nice. It was cool to kind of go back to my bucket list that I'd written in high school, which I have a really random amount of things on. And it's not crazy long. Like, my issue is I write bucket lists in a bunch of different places. But on my bucket list, one of the goals was to book a feature film. And that's something I did this year, which was crazy, crazy exciting. And going next year, I just want to keep knocking things off of it. And one of them is to book a reoccurring role in a TV show and to attend a premiere of something that I've actually been in. But literally something that I've had to take note of for this year when writing resolutions or goals for the new year is nothing I'm doing is number based. I feel like in past years it's been hit 3 million on TikTok and then hit 100,000 on Instagram. And it's really, that has no value. Obviously it does for the line of work I'm in and the impact you have, but to place number goals, I just think is a very dangerous thing. And I don't know, I don't really have anything resolution wise for fitness or for eating better this year, I guess. I don't know. I feel like the majority of my goals are actually focused on just doing well mentally.
I like where you're going with that. And I would say for number goals in general can be really good because you can measure them. And a lot of times goals can be about a feeling, but if you're looking for a tangible result, you got to keep score in some ways. And so if you're working on an athletic achievement or dropping weight or something like that, you got to have some numbers involved with that.
I agree in some aspects. You can put goals okay, I want to make at least 25 YouTube videos this year because that's something you can control. But to place something and say I have to hit 10 million followers,
Yes.
that's something you only have so much control over.
True.
And it shouldn't be your obsession.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think you don't want to put too much pressure just on the numbers and goals. Something that I've been thinking about for myself just as I've been moving forward is forward momentum. You just as long as you're doing it and you're making progress, maybe you're not hitting the numbers that you want, but as long as you're continuing to do it, I think that in itself is very admirable, and that's something you should be proud of. So
Yeah, and to be proud of it's the whole key. Like to have joy with what you're doing is the only like way you're going to be happy in life. Like, truly.
That's the measure of success,
Yeah.
really.
if you can
Building.
like put food on the table and continue doing what you're doing, I think like to me that is success.
And you're looking forward to getting to that place this year with your life, the kind of like the post-college life and what that's all about.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of like tie this in with my New Year's goals / resolutions, which I haven't really thought about that. But I think the big thing for me is just kind of continuing to explore all of the stuff that I do, and I'm not even really on social media. I feel like every time I do a TikTok with you on your channel, most of the comments are like, "Oh, Maggie has a brother. Maggie's not an only child," and I think
Or
just
she
lot
doesn't
of
have a
that-
mom.
Yeah. I've just been like tucked away with school, and social media has never really been something that I feel pressure to, or actually I'd say I do feel pressure. And so I'd just rather not do it. It's not my kind of thing, but I think I want to continue to find out what I do and explore all the different routes, continuing doing production stuff, music stuff, and streaming as well. Just started streaming on Twitch. Well, I've been doing it for a while, but still have a long way to go. But if you want to
What's your
hop
handle?
on,
Plug it.
Eddie Thurman, Eddie_Thurman, all lowercase. Yeah, love to see you there. Play a lot of single player games, just like long ones. Like I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, going back through that, and then I'll play like Minecraft, which like I figured out how to mod it. That's been awesome, and yeah. I really want you to join me too, even if it's not on stream. Like I've been every day. It's like I'm showing Maggie, like, because you used to play Minecraft a lot.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too. I literally wrote it down in my notes because I remember growing up so much how much we played Minecraft together.
Oh yeah.
And I was talking about this not the other day, but a while ago, and I brought up the fact that even when we played together, when we were younger, you would go out and kill the animals, and I would stay home and like design and grow plants. And I was like, that was really a foreshadow of me being a vegetarian. I didn't even want to kill him in a video game. But no, we had so much fun with that. And we played in quarantine a good bit too. It slows up my computer, man.
Oh yeah, I always play. I have to put an ice pack underneath it.
Is that good for your computer? That can't be good for your computer, Eddie.
I showed him another hack that. I
Yeah,
don't know
the
if he's
air,
birdie
doing.
ball
air
hack.
cooling. I know.
The
I just
birdie
kind
ball
of
hack.
I think the ice pack is like, it's probably not good for it, but it's a way to like force my computer. It's not going to overheat because it's going to stay really cold.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
amazed with what your computer has put up with and survived.
Yeah.
Honestly, because you've edited weekly videos on that thing for years. All your music stuff, all your gaming. It's like been this workhorse for you.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it feels.
He'll be having a burial ceremony for
It's
him
kinda-
soon, I think.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
it's
Did I
struggling
jinx it?
along.
Oh no, I'm always shocked when he gets through another project. I'm just like, just get this one done, and then we'll.
Save your work.
Yeah.
Save your work.
Oh
That's-
yeah.
that's my mantra. Is
For,
that my mantra,
um,
Maggie?
For like the past 6 months, if I don't have my computer plugged into a charger, it can shut off at any moment, and I can just lose so much work. So I just have to keep it plugged in and have to make sure like the cable's actually connected, because I've
I've
had that
offered
happen
to
a
get you
bunch.
another computer because
I know,
Eddie
I
effectively
know.
works for our business. He edits not just the podcast, but bi-weekly videos every single week. We've been collaborating on that for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done hundreds of videos together, which is awesome. I love that you and I kind of create that together. It's a good father-son bond in
Yeah.
life. But yeah, I'd love to get you another computer. Maybe that can be something we do early 22.
We don't need to get into all that right
Well,
now. Let's- yeah.
I want to amplify kind of what you said because it's so wild. What you said, Eddie, it resonates with my thinking and also what I'm teaching to my clients right now about goals versus momentum. And you use the word forward momentum. I use 3 words: momentum, trajectory, congruence. Momentum is I'm going forward. I'm feeling momentum in areas in my life that are important to me. Also, I pay attention to where I have momentum in other areas and kind of keep that moving. Secondly, is that trajectory. Things are getting better. Like I have to feel like there's improvement on the horizon for me in areas where it really matters. And so like, how do I define improvement and am I working toward it? And then the third is congruence, which is about better alignment between your dreams and desires and your values and principles in your actual life. And so, it kind of doesn't matter how fast you're going as long as you're going and you're growing and you're getting more in alignment with like what's important to you.
Right. And not ignoring other things that are important. And then you find out too late that, oh, shoot, I forgot to continue, taking care of this relationship or that project or
getting tunnel vision.
Yeah. Changing the oil in my car. That was
Put
my
gas in your
chair, by
car.
the way, that just made that noise.
You know what I'm also excited about for next year?
What?
Is just the name of the year, 2022.
Oh, yeah.
2022. It has such an alliterative fun. It's fun to say.
Has a lot of twos.
2022.
It has a lot of twos. And
Oh,
my
yeah.
buddy Philip Solomon, whose birthday is 222, he'll be 222, 2022.
Turning 22.
Yeah, exactly.
2020.
And I think he'll be 52. I don't know.
I just had the thought. I literally just had the thought. I was like, wait, I'm turning 22 in 2022. That's not correct at all.
No,
No,
it's
not at all.
I'm 19.
Yeah. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Feel like you're 21 already.
You're never really good with
You're already
numbers.
growing up
No, I'm
so
just kidding.
fast.
You're turning 20 in 2022,
I am.
which is pretty cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that. That was one of the things I wrote down when I was thinking about the new year. This is my last few months. I have less than 6 months of being a teenager.
Yeah.
And
I know that feeling.
I was thinking, I've been talking to friends about this for a while, trying to figure out what are all the things that I want to do as a teenager before that time's done. And like the only thing that I kept on thinking was like teenage heartbreak. And that,
Okay.
I know that's a weird thing to like hope for, and it's probably not going to happen.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Just like to fall in love and like have your heart shattered.
Haven't you done that a couple times?
Once, but I truly don't remember the feelings anymore.
Well,
Like it's been so long.
Well, that's a good thing that you're not like
Just go-
continuing to think that heartbreak over and over again
No,
and dwell on
literally,
it. That would be terrible.
Mom, Matthew and I think it was a day or two before we like went back to our families when we were still in LA. We were just chilling at my place because we had something later that night, and I just go, "Do you ever read your texts from your ex?" And he was like,
What?
and then we both just spent like 30 minutes in silence reading our texts from our exes, and reading it helped me remember a little bit like what I felt, but I've just been so disconnected romantically for so long that I was like, man, I kind of miss that. That's one thing I want to do in 2022 is just be more in touch with my emotions.
More open to a relationship, maybe.
I'd love that. I'm so closed off, and I don't really know why. We probably don't need to get into that on the podcast.
Yeah, I think you
But-
should skip it. And I do not think you're closed off. And you say that, but you're not.
When
You're
it comes
just,
to a relationship,
you're cautious, but you are not closed off. You are cautious, and that's a good thing. Because
Yeah.
the right guy, speaking of your dad, like I was like not going to go out with this guy, try to fix him up with some friends.
Wait, hold on.
And ultimately, it was
Before you tell the
intention.
story.
I'm not going to tell the story. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
is
okay,
that,
good.
that I wasn't. I thought I was closed off, but I wasn't. But being cautious is a smart thing.
You were a little closed off. I had to knock on
Oh,
that
I was
door.
totally closed off with you. I
I
take
didn't
that
being
back.
closed off wasn't a thing.
But you're right. The guy, it'll break down the door if necessary, I guess.
That is a question we got. So one of our questions from listeners was, how did you and your wife meet, and what was your relationship story? And I thought what could be fun is just to see how much you guys know the story. Let you two tell the story, and we'll fill in the blanks
I thought Maggie did that.
I've heard you guys. We've talked about it on the podcast, haven't
Yeah.
we?
about how we met.
I think Maggie told the story. Yeah.
Well, then what am I doing?
Well, I don't know. Moving on.
Get out.
I'm going to edit the
Please.
crap out of this. Oh no, Eddie's doing it
Yeah.
on you, not
You
Ed.
don't, you don't have to edit that out. That's all good. No, but we talked a little bit about her
We
mom
didn't
and
talk
I.
about Eddie's
Didn't talk about
relationship.
Eddie's relationship.
I am in a relationship.
Yes, you are.
I have been for a while.
For a long
And
time.
we adore her.
Yeah.
And that's been really hard because you can talk a little bit about what it's like to be in a long distance relationship.
Yeah, and I think this kind of like, I don't know. I wonder if like Maggie, you kind of experience or like did experience similar feelings that I felt before I went into this relationship, which was just a little bit. It wasn't really like I just didn't feel the need for a relationship, and it was kind of just a feeling of independence. And so, like when it happened, I don't know. It was like something special. And at the same time, there is that feeling of independence. Like, I will be okay and I can do this. I don't need this person.
Yeah.
And we kind of just went into it kind of slowly and without names. Like, we never officially were like, oh, now we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, we never really did that. And then I think we just, experienced it for what it was and enjoyed it. And wanted to continue our relationship, and we knew that long distance was going to be hard, and I think we both kind of went into it with no expectations, and I think that was the best thing that we could have done because we're still together, and I don't think it's been easy, but I think we talk all the time. We find things to do, and we still keep things interesting. Like, I've gotten her more into video games, and she's gotten me into more of her like creative, artistic stuff. And so I think that even though we're far apart, and that part really sucks, we continue to learn from each other and grow from each other, and just communicate and keep each other in the loop. Which
And this
weird.
is the year 2022 where that begins to change, where you have a chance to spend a lot more time.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Together.
Hopefully, it's becoming an adult is hard. It's not easy. Just like
What's
being
hard
able
about
to-
it? What's the hardest part?
Money. I honestly think that's like because you have the energy, you have the time, but just finding a job and like I know a lot of people where they spent a year or more looking for jobs, and it's normal now. So I think that's a little bit of a concern. But I'm just really excited for that and to kind of move forward. And I think once again, like as we go into the next step of our lives, like it's going to be a little bit more serious, but I think we're going to go into it with no expectations. I guess that's
No
that's
pressure,
not
you
true.
mean.
Yeah, no
No
pressure. And just kind of whatever happens, and I don't know, we know each other, and
Yeah, I think that's a part that like really works for your relationship is, as you were talking about beforehand, you said you were in a place of like independence.
yes.
Morgan's a very independent person as well, which is one of the main things I felt about like, because I guess I've gone on like some dates recently or just like over the past since I've been single. And a lot of people are very dependent. A lot of people want to find themselves in the relationship and want that to be what completes them.
Yeah, they want to find themselves in a relationship.
Yeah. And that's just like makes me want to run.
Yeah, I think
So I do.
Feeling like you need to be in a relationship to complete yourself is not. I mean, I understand
Not gonna
it.
work.
I totally understand. Yeah, that was me for a very, 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 very long time.
Yep.
And then I kind of went through that whole teenage heartbreak and was like, you know what? I don't know. Like, it's just too much. If you put too much of yourself into this relationship and this other person, and you feel like that is your identity, and then once the relationship ends, you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's been like for us, the success of our marriage was the fact that your dad and I have always been interested in improving ourselves. And so many couples, especially young, are like, well, he needs to do this, and he needs to be this way and that way, or she doesn't do that, and she should be taking care of all these things that I don't want to do, whatever. And like we were always like, whoever gets to the laundry first gets to the laundry first. Whoever, your dad enjoys cooking, so that's been fabulous. So we found our strengths in our relationship, but we also we're always focused on improving ourselves, because I can only be a better wife and mother by being a better person,
I
improving
remember
myself.
meeting you and being so impressed by that. How strong you were in your own character, how proud you were about having your own condo and your job and your own. I mean, it was awesome that you had your own life together, and to me, that's when you make the best like possible candidate for someone else's life, is when you already have your own stuff together and you bring it to the table. And I was like, wow, like I don't have to fix her. I don't. She's not going to be dependent upon me for her happiness. She already has found her happiness. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because I found mine too. And so that was awesome. And I would say like we were both so independent and in our own ways, almost to a detriment. I thought at some point it's like we both like are still operated our own worlds, and it took a while to figure out exactly how to blend them and how to be like they're at our optimum selves for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I
had to learn that for you.
I quickly came into your business. Like when after we dropped the L word, I was like, "Can I ask you a personal question?"
Yep.
And it was, "Can I see your insurance policy?"
Really?
Because I wanted to make sure. Because he was juggling and
I'm
all
juggling
these
knives around
knives
audience
around.
members.
And so I was like, I wanted to make
Oh,
sure not
my.
only did he have really good insurance to protect him, but also liability insurance for anything he might
Yeah.
break. And so I was like, and I had worked for lawyers at that time. And so I was very practical. I still am It's amazing that I'm a writer who writes comedy, because I'm very practical. But yeah, I'm like, no, we incorporated our business, and then we just hit the ground running, building kind of your business, but it was our business, and I was doing both.
Do you guys know
Yeah.
what our first business was called when we incorporated? You don't know this, do you?
No.
Motivation Works?
No,
Yeah,
you'll
that's
never
what it
guess.
is now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Info media.
Because isn't it awful? We couldn't decide what we were, because your dad started the speaking, and yet we were still producing entertainment,
But
and I was
you
doing
were
murder.
also-
I was doing murder mysteries, so it was
And
So
you were
it's just
producing a
info.
CD-ROM at the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And so she were doing like production
that
of,
was a
of
nightmare.
computer stuff, of like, so we were like,
Thank you,
we need a
Windows.
name that means nothing.
What ties all these together?
Information and media.
Exactly. It was like we had to be called something. And so, yeah. And then I produced that CD-ROM, and literally, I swear, the minute it came out, Windows dropped, and the first Windows, like
Well, the internet.
non-DOS, was born, and my CD never saw the light of day. And
Well,
it was pretty brilliant for its time, but it was
So-
the last. It was the last thing made.
When did you guys switch to Motivation Works? Because I remember being like little, and I don't remember you guys like making the switch, but I think you, like when we were in North Carolina, you're like, oh, this is Motivation Point where we'd
Right.
go, and
It was pretty early. I think it was after we moved
Maybe
to
5 or 10 years.
right.
5, yeah. I don't know. Probably.
No,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't
Don't
matter.
say where we
But-
live. We'll bleep it out.
People know.
But anyway.
No, they don't.
Okay.
just so you know, our address is.
That's really why I moved. No, I'm kidding.
So anyway, so Motivation Works was much more congruent, and I love the double meaning of it. Like we produce works of motivation, and motivation does work in your life. And so, speaking of businesses, one of the questions we got from viewers was, Eddie,
Yes.
what is your perspective on Maggie's success? How does it feel to have a sister who kind of like got launched into TikTok stardom and, was running her own business and doing movies and like the momentum of her life? How does that sit with you, since you're in a different place,
Yeah.
just getting out of college and such?
I just think it's like so exciting. I don't know. Like when it first happened, it felt very surreal, and it kind of continues to feel that way. But it's also just, it's so exciting. It's so good to know that Maggie has found her like path, and this might not be her calling, like what she does forever, but I feel like it has unlocked a lot of different opportunities, and she can kind of do a lot of different things that she wants. And I don't know. Like, I'm just really excited for her. And I feel like she's included me on certain things, or on a lot of things. I feel like, I don't really push to be in Maggie's TikToks. It's more like she wants me to be in them, and I am really appreciative of that. And like us working on music together and just kind of like exploring other different paths. It's been just awesome, and it does still feel a little surreal. Like the fact that we're sitting here right now is very bizarre.
Making a podcast. Like, what?
Is it fair though that you don't have the same desire to be, like you mentioned, you don't want to be doing social media. You're more of a behind the scenes person versus a up front on camera. Although you did do a lot of acting.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly. I think in general, because I used to also post a lot on social media where I play guitar, and I would try to cover songs, and I really try to do that. It's almost like it just takes a lot out of me, and in the end, the end result doesn't feel worth it sometimes, just because whenever you release something, you put I put ridiculous amounts of time into it, really try to like be a perfectionist about everything, and then just not satisfied with the result, or with I don't know. It's like I don't know what I can do where I release something and really feel satisfied about it. It just overall kind of feels more stressful, and there's more pressure, where things like streaming, I really enjoy that. I like just talking with people and not feeling like I have to go back and really dial in the sound and make sure it just sounds perfect. And then I release it, and then I kind of have to, even if I'm not, if I choose not to look at the numbers, it's still there. Like, that thought is still in the back of your head, or what people are saying. And instead I can just kind of be in the moment with that. And same with acting, I guess, because like I do really enjoy acting. But I can act, and I'm not behind the camera looking at my face, and I'm editing it and doing all that stuff. It's like I can act and do that, and then sort of put, it's like hands off at that point, which I really like. And I do really like doing production stuff and things like that. But I don't like doing it for myself, for like my own works, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's completely fair. Yeah, I don't like editing my.
For a girl who doesn't like it, you do a lot of it.
I do.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I don't like it.
Editing this podcast is gonna be weird.
Yeah. No, I bet.
Well, that's one of the reasons I enjoy doing the edit, because it's kind of a control thing. It's like I get to.
You get the final word.
I get the final word.
Yeah.
Well, I ask you guys, and the reason I'm saying editing, Eddie and I have been ping-ponging the editing of the podcast back and forth some during this his senior year at Berkeley, and so I've done a few more of those, and I enjoy doing it a lot.
And sorry, Maggie, I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you're talking about like making your own stuff and being the editor there, like how.
Yeah,
don't really like that.
it's been a learning curve for sure. Because when I started out on TikTok, all I did was like dances with my dad, and that doesn't require any editing. And so kind of learning how to edit and learning like the timing of editing.
Learn Premiere.
Yeah. I learned a lot of different like softwares. I use Adobe now, even for like TikToks on my phone. I'll edit in Rush. And so I think editing TikToks is a lot easier for me than editing YouTube videos, because it's a different style of editing, and I don't 100% know how to do it. And so like I've had people tell me like you just need to hire an editor for it, but
then they might not do exactly. What you want.
I think that's why you hire Eddie, because he's your brother and he knows how to edit.
But I think it's important for YouTubers to edit their own content, at least in the beginning, so people can understand them more, I guess. But it really does, your editing style shows your personality a lot.
Yeah, and I think it like affects the way that you shoot something and the way that you'd want to plan beforehand.
Yeah, and
you know your style.
Yeah, and I don't 100% know my style yet.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
You guys want a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I like answering questions.
Okay, this is a good one. It's from Sean, and Sean asks, how do you know if you're burnt out, and how do you go about fixing it?
You have lost all joy and motivation in what you're doing.
Yeah.
As I've experienced a burnout. It's so funny to me the amount of people I've talked to on social media who are all burnt out. And there's a line in a Billie Eilish song called Getting Older or Growing Older. I think it's Getting Older, where she says, the things I once enjoyed now just keep me employed. And I was like, oh, because I don't feel like I'm burnt out right now, but I have 100% gone through phases of burnout. And that's a hard thing on social media because you can be burnout in like a 9-to-5 job, but it's not like your personality that's the thing you have to put out there for your job. And when you're burnout on social media, people can tell easier, I think.
Yeah. And I don't think that burnout is something that's like a flip or switch that gets flipped where you're like, oh, now I'm burnt out. It's kind of in stages. And I think the more I don't know, everyone's different, but for me, I notice the more that I push it and it's like I just have to do it. And also I feel like my mindset becomes, it's like I have to do this instead of, I'm going to do this now. And I, like going in with creative ideas. I think one of the things that really helped me was it just always go back and think about why you're doing it in the first place. Like what got you to do this? For me, it's, the bands that I listen to with music, like the artists, and every time I go back, it kind of puts me back in that headspace of like being that young aspirational kid, listening to these guys.
You want to
like,
drop a few names? You want to drop a few artist names? Like who do you go to?
Dance Gavin Dance, 100%. And I mean, aside from that, it's a lot of like heavy metal, like really heavy metal. Yeah, like
and stuff like Polyphia.
Polyphia, 100%. Chon, Covet, I love those, like all of them. Their music's very like beautiful. And yeah, some heavier stuff like what? Can't even think of anything.
But that's
like,
what you do when you've got the burnout. You go back to remembering
the inspiration
to get out of that.
And that's the thing too, is like when I don't know, I always love like deathcore heavy music or like that quirky little, Dance Gavin Dance music. And as I was going through school, I started out playing like viola and then going into jazz and then classical and then jazz and classical and it was a lot of that and then like R&B and pop. And I was like, I'm not enjoying this. And then I bought a 7-string, or like I joined a band. We formed it, and it was kind of like we were all into this really heavy music where it feels like no one around me was, and I wasn't learning it. And then I got a 7-string and just started learning. It's like a little bit different, kind of getting used to it, and then being able to write on that and be like, I can just write the stuff that I want to do, and it doesn't matter like about the harmony or the there is a lot of complexity, but like as far as harmonic stuff and like chord tensions and things like that, it's more just about the riffs and the metal and like the rhythm, I guess, like getting into that stuff that I love. It always brings back inspiration for me, I feel.
Yeah, I think reminding yourselves of why you loved it in the first place is very important. I also think breaks.
Yes. Yeah.
Saying, okay, like I'm just not even gonna put any pressure on this. I'm not even gonna like think about it for all of today. I do that with Sundays, like my Sabbath. I'm not Jewish. People had a whole argument over that on TikTok because I said I practiced the Sabbath and they said I couldn't do that if I wasn't Jewish. That's not true. But like on Sundays, all I do is spend time with my friends and like go to church and just like do things that I enjoy, like watch TV and have chill days, which means I don't even like think about social media. I don't film auditions on Sundays, like, and I noticed that having that period of like rest has helped with my burnout. because I could be like working really hard throughout the week, and it's not like I'm working for like continuations. Like I know that there's going to be a break.
For me, I like to clean and organize, so I can jump into a project or something creative that I wanted to do and build and get away for a while and say, okay, that was very satisfying and very creative, and now I can go back to the something that's not creative, accounting that I have to do, or the managing my parents' estate with all the legal stuff of doing, all the non-fun stuff that I've just been burnt out on for years. But you got to do it. Nobody can do it but me.
Yeah.
I get help where I can. But yeah, you've got to have those breaks and moments to get out. And I know what yours is, Dan.
What?
It's exercise. You got it.
Well,
Your burnout, he goes out and plays, and that's great because you're not only
love to play.
Firing off those endorphins and it's what you
love. It was
love.
such
and
a huge when I recognized like the thing that I bring to my world and my clients. The thing that's always made me successful is a playful attitude with how to solve a problem, with how to entertain an audience. If I'm having fun, they're having more fun. If I'm having the most fun, then my success even blossoms more and I get bigger stages and bigger audiences. And so when I finally wrapped my mind around that and was like, okay, playing is a big part of what makes me successful, I should play all the time. and
he does.
I should turn everything in my life into a game. Like even throwing away the trash in our house. Like we have off the balcony, the trash can is on a different level and there's a string and you pull up the trash can lid with the string. You throw the bag over the balcony and hit the trash can.
Yep.
Taking out the trash is fun at our house.
Or even more importantly, it's not laborious.
Yeah.
And
I would say the how to recognize if you're beginning to experience burnout. Okay, the hard stuff's always going to be hard, but when the easy stuff starts to get hard as well, like when everything seems difficult, then you probably are in a place where you're not healthy.
Yeah, like easy stuff feeling hard, like not being able to like get up to brush your teeth or do the dishes. I think that's something one of my friends said that I felt like was a really good benchmark, because not to get too personal, but that was something that he said and it really struck with me, and I was like, wow, okay, now I don't know, that it like that's a good benchmark.
Well, and you've had a tough spell,
Yeah.
in Boston by yourself, isolated during lockdowns, online classes, not doing the things you love. And so the burnout has taken, I'm sure, a few different forms for you.
Yeah, it's hit a little hard, and kind of as soon as, especially being on break and being able to do whatever I want, it's like I feel like that burnout has quickly started to go away, and I'm enjoying what I want to do a lot more, and also being able to do things like specifically what I want to do, like streaming, things like that, where I don't feel tied down and I kind of just want to roll with it and put like a lot of effort into it, because it doesn't feel like it is a lot of effort.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a New Year's that wasn't spent at home.
Really?
Yeah. No,
I think I've had one.
like every single New Year's, I spend it at home.
I love that.
And now I'm
Yeah.
You'll be like 35. I'm always with my parents for New Year's Eve.
At some point, that tradition is inevitably broken, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It'll be 2 after this year. 2 years that I haven't.
That's right.
But I don't think I've ever missed a Christmas.
So what are your memories like with New Year's in your childhood or growing up in the family in general as being a part of this weird family?
Going back and forth between watching a movie and watching the
Countdown?
Yeah.
and Dad falling asleep, and pots and pans. When we were younger, we banged on pots and pans.
Yeah, that's a weird tradition. That came from my grandparents in Chicago.
Polish tradition, I guess.
Is that something they made up?
Maybe. You know how it was?
New Year's, hit something.
Yeah.
No, it had to be a pot and pan.
It's a rich
Loud.
Polish tradition in our Polish neighborhood. But no, we would go outside with pots and pans and like wooden spoons and bang on the pots and pans first we started doing it in the house, and then we would go outside and do it outside of the house and stuff. And yeah, it gets old really fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would probably piss off your neighbors.
Yeah.
But
We
I
never
imagine
did that.
everyone's awake.
Well, look at what happens now. Our neighbors are blowing things up constantly
4 in the morning.
4 in the
Yeah.
morning.
at like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would love to have some serious conversations with our neighbors if I wasn't afraid of them due to the
It's not our-
gunshots we hear
it's
in our
not-
backyard.
It's not our
Welcome to
neighborhood.
Georgia.
So
Yeah,
moral of this
scary.
story, kids, be careful this year with your fireworks, not just of yourselves and each other, but of your environment.
Sparklers.
Don't
Let's
burn
go back
anything
to
down.
sparklers.
Actually, okay, yeah. Real quick though, I do remember setting there have been a couple times where there's like the cardboard mortars and you light it and you put it in and then it shoots it up and it explodes. Like even those things, sometimes it just won't shoot up in the air. And I remember setting off fireworks with my friends. It might have been New Year's, so maybe I've missed more than 2. But like we'd light them, turn around and run away, and it would just explode on the ground and like deafen us. And the person who's like closest is we're all like, where'd he go? Is he okay? It's intense and it's dangerous. And even if you're doing it in like a controlled environment or you think you're doing it, can get dangerous. Yeah.
When they were younger, they shot a bottle rocket that went into a neighbor's gutter and blew up and started the house on fire.
Oh
Yeah, it was a bummer.
I'm sure they appreciate you sharing that. on
yeah.
the
What
podcast.
are their last names? where did they live?
They're not really. And
No, those are
Sean.
pseudonyms.
No, I remember. Oh man, should I even say this because I know they listen to the podcast? It seemed like a lot better idea in our head, but I remember in Grandma and Grandpa's basement lighting sparklers to take pictures with them in the dark.
With like long
Inside?
exposure.
Yeah.
Inside?
Yeah.
Why would you do it inside?
Yeah.
We were young. We weren't thinking about it.
Oh, I thought you were saying Grandma and Grandpa had you lighting the
No.
sparklers
This
inside.
was
And I was
like a
going, what?
me and the cousins activity
Oh.
of something we saw on Pinterest and was like, this is going to look so cool. It didn't look cool. I don't think we did it right.
Did you set off the smoke alarm?
No, we ran outside very quickly after we realized what
That's
a bad
good.
idea it was. But that's how you know Claire wasn't with us, because my cousin Claire is a professional photographer, and
Yeah.
she probably could have told us, hey,
Don't do that.
you're not doing it well.
So you guys want another question?
Sure.
Okay, I think this is a good one. It says, I'd like for you to discuss how hard it is to let or allow a child to fail. I have 4 children and 3 have now begun their careers, with the 4th being a senior in college. Each of the 4 experiences have been totally different, just as each child has been totally unique. When I look across the 4, it's easy to see how the biggest challenge has always been knowing how much to intercede when they are on a not so great path. I absolutely love and am supportive of all 4. This is from Marty. I think that's a brilliant question. How do you let your children fail, Shay?
Well, we definitely tried to do that in terms of letting the kids not do things for you, but letting you figure things out on your own, even though we would say, well, I don't think that's really a good idea, and this is why. But Maggie would probably more than Eddie would be very determined that she knew better than us. And I can't think of specific instances necessarily, but unless the kids were in a situation that could put them in danger, or we felt like it could be a really bad situation, we would let you guys fail, make your decisions. One of our rules was always everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets to voice their opinions, but mom and dad make the decisions. So by saying that, sometimes I think you guys would think that meant that you could do what you want, but you didn't. You were good kids, but
I mean,
I feel like we didn't let you fail enough. What
I
do you think?
agree. That's where I was going to go. I don't think we let you fail
Or maybe
enough.
you just didn't fail enough.
What do you mean, let us,
created the circumstances when you were younger where you would deliberately struggle.
letting your kids fail and intentionally setting them up for failure are very different things.
Very
Not what I
different.
meant.
Very
I
different
didn't
things.
say
Yeah.
intentionally setting you up for fail. I said creating the circumstances for intentional struggle.
But
Like,
is
like
that-
something that you want so bad that you intentionally struggle to do it.
Like
That's
how
what I
y'all
meant.
taught us how to swim,
Well-
constantly pulling the noodle further away from
Oh
us.
Yeah.
my
That-
god,
That was not me.
Exactly.
I totally forgot about that. Dude, that just I got like a wave of like
No,
bad
yeah.
memories. All
No, that was not me.
Literally.
Like,
I guess we
just
did a
let me get the
good enough
noodle.
job with that.
I didn't do that.
No, I did that. But the other point about Marty's question I want to really point out is about how every kid is different.
Completely.
And not only are they different from each other, but they are entirely different from you. And that was a big aha for me as a parent. We were just reviewing yesterday in kind of preparation for this, looking over this folder where I had the Strengths Finder assessments done, Clifton's Strengths Finder, which is a great resource to really, you take a 15-minute survey. It's a Gallup poll-based database of this personality information that reveals your strengths. And the idea is everyone operates best from the position of what they are already good at. And when you know your strengths, when you claim your strengths and really own them, then you can leverage into other opportunities much faster, as opposed to saying, oh, I really need to work on my weaknesses. Yes, you should do that too. And yet when you build on your strengths, you have that momentum that we were talking about earlier. But what was remarkable is that, you know, Eddie, you and I, and Shay and Maggie, we all had very different strengths. And in fact, Eddie and I had none of the same strengths.
yeah.
And so for me, I was always thinking, why doesn't Eddie get it? Why isn't he motivated the same way I am? Why can't I get through to him in certain ways? And it was just because we're different people, wired completely differently. And so once I realized that, I could then be like really help you unpack your strengths and utilize your strengths to help the family.
Yeah, even things like I do feel like we're very different, but we making that effort to find like common ground or things, because just like your definition or like what you would go do for fun and what I would go do for fun, they're very different, and so we can.
They're very different
very
from all of
different.
ours.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my parents don't like video games, but
I do.
Yeah, that's
But-
true. That is true. But yeah, I don't know. Like we both made an intentional effort to find things that we could both enjoy doing, and then also, there's also a little give and take. And that this goes with all relationships. Like I'll do things with him that I don't really want to do at all, and vice versa. And but
It's hilarious too. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's just part of like, because we want to spend time together and also just have that connection.
You'll have to tell me later what exactly those are. What those
Well,
things are.
there's definitely, but like you play Nertz, but Eddie, thank you too, because
Yeah.
neither Eddie nor Dan
think-
like playing Nertz, and Maggie and I love it.
I call bull on that. I think Dad actually secretly likes playing Nertz.
Once.
And he wins. That's what's so weird. He
I like
can
it once.
win the game.
I don't like to keep going.
but
Well, we always
it-
play 3.
right.
I know. By the third one,
Oh.
I'm ready to give up the game forever.
Well, if I didn't know that was a rule, I feel like that might, because I feel like before it would just go on forever, and it's like, yeah, you want to do another one? Let's
We
do
need
another one.
we need to live stream it sometime, because Eddie will be just like, Eddie wants to stop and talk in the middle of Nertz.
Nertz,
Yeah.
for those of you
And
guys
it's a
who
time
don't
game.
know,
You want to speed, and Eddie will be like, well,
want- It's like I want to take my time with it.
Yeah,
Right.
for those of you who don't know, Nertz is a very high-speed card game where everyone has their own deck, and like you flip through it in a certain way, and like the goal is to get as many of your cards out in the center. And so,
Ace through King.
yeah, it's a very quick game. Just to
Yeah.
give some
And
reference.
then your dad will be sitting
Yeah.
there the whole time like, oh, I hate this game, and then he wins. And he's like, I don't want to play. I think it's because
See,
it stresses you out.
Maggie,
It
Maggie
creates
usually
anxiety.
wins. Maggie wins more than anybody.
But another thing,
I win sometimes.
I do like
Yes, you
some
do.
card
Eddie,
games.
Eddie doesn't win, but he enjoys talking with us.
I like
No, he
trading
doesn't.
card games.
Oh,
which
yeah.
Yes.
None of you guys like, and it's probably just because of the way that I like force it on you, and I don't know, maybe like the approach, but it just seems like, we just gravitate towards different types of games.
I enjoy watching you play the game, so I'm
Mhm.
like the perfect kind of person to watch you do the streaming.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it comes down to is
Yeah.
like, what is the give and take of how much you enjoy something and how much you love the person?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
and and then we need to find something that becomes our thing, because golf will never be our thing because you
Racquetball.
don't love it. Yeah, racquetball is our thing.
That we
Eddie
don't
and
play
I,
anymore.
when we travel together, we love sharing music. Like I'll introduce him to some music from my youth or something new that I'm listening to now, like Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
great.
Eddie will show me some bands that he's
like
into.
Go Bordello.
Yeah,
very similar.
Exactly. And we'll be like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And we have that connection. Travel, I think, is something we all connect on
Yes.
when we're out of town together, like doing life.
Yeah, Eddie and I, we fought a lot when we were younger. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
I forget that a lot. We did
That's
not
true.
get along for like years.
For a long time,
But-
and then it just changed. I think
yeah,
it's
we
like,
got older.
Yeah, we
But
just-
on trips though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember just saying like Eddie and I don't get along unless we're out of the country. Then we're best friends because
Yeah.
we're like the only people
Yeah.
around who speak English, and so it's like, okay, we're friends
friends
now.
now.
Let's go explore.
But you would have a lot of fun together.
Oh,
when
so
we
much
traveled.
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maggie answered this on a podcast about me traveling and what it was like with me traveling when she was younger.
Ooh.
Like, do you have an insight on that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first thing that comes to mind is like, really missing you when you'd go, and I'd stand in the driveway or on the front porch, and I'd like watch you drive to the airport, and it was always like,
Really?
it was, yeah.
When you
It-
were really, real
I
little.
was pretty young, yeah, and I mean, it was something that I got used to, and it was almost like I'd like stop knowing exactly how long you were gone or when you were gonna be back, and it was just kind of like you came and went, and I just like dealt with that or accepted that, and yeah, I do feel like it was pretty hard when I was younger, and it was something that I just did get used to. I think the hardest thing though was when you were gone for a month. I think it was a month. When you flew overseas, that I like remember really dreading that and not looking forward to it, and then being really excited when you're home. But at the same time, I never was like mad about it or anything like that, and I got by. It wasn't like detrimental, but it was just sad.
But what
and
about
then-
when he was older?
Yeah.
I mean, when he was older, when you were, well, I guess you were both older.
Well,
but
I feel like we started traveling a lot more, and I think that became a big part of it. I think I did travel. I traveled with the three of you, maybe
The
Maggie.
three-
I don't remember. When I was like super little.
yeah.
But I feel like there was a period of time where I wasn't doing a lot of going on flights with Dad, where it was just the two of us. And then as I got older, that we started to be able to do that, and that became really special. And it's interesting now, like kind of growing up or going to college and realizing like we can't do that anymore. It was pretty sad, but I mean, we still can't now being an adult, like I can do that again. So-
I see you doing that with me again,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for sure. Like, and even incorporating it into the business, creating more content, like figuring out the business reason for it. Because if we're going to do it, it should be tax deductible, right?
Exactly.
No, but it hurts my heart to hear you say that made you sad. I mean, I always knew it made you at least temporarily sad. I didn't know you spent so much time thinking about it, because it's obviously the hardest thing is to leave your family. You begin to think like you can connect your family to the experience in some ways. Like we had
Yeah.
family rituals around me leaving, me
Yeah.
coming home, when I'm going on stage, you sang the cheer, all of that. You mentioned the month. That's when I was performing for the troops in the Middle East.
Right.
I shaved my head. You shaved your
shaved-
head
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, I was
Like-
going to shave Maggie's head. I said to Eddie, I said, Maggie was what, 3. So Eddie was about 6. And I said, let's all shave our heads like your dad's, because we had a picture of him, and Eddie said, Mom, I don't think you should. I think just me and Maggie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I laughed. I was
I
like,
wanna
no, I think
shave
we'll
my
just
head.
we'll just have Eddie.
I want to shave my head at some point in my life, but I really want to cut it and bleach it. But I'm not going to until after pilot season.
Yeah,
because
that's a good idea.
I'm much more castable in my current state than if I just sent it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Did you like feel connected? Like, did you know why I left?
Yeah.
You knew about speeches
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it never felt like you were abandoned, like leaving us because you wanted to, or it was like, I got somewhere else to go. It was like, I feel like I totally understood that. And it wasn't, it was just hard for me too. But it wasn't, I felt like I did understand it, and it was okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now you're home all the time. No, it's awesome. I've truly enjoyed all this time together as a family, and it's something that I am forever grateful for. And I'm glad that we have like a documented time of it now. Like we
Absolutely.
can listen to this in 10 years and be like, "Oh my gosh, remember when we were going into 2022?"
Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were just mentioning something, which was the record, the family record.
We got an album coming out after the first of the year. Just kidding.
No.
So do you remember the time that instead of setting like family goals and resolutions for the next year, we actually projected like 4 years into the future?
What do you mean, do I remember?
Yeah. Like 2016, at the end of the year, we tried to forecast our 2020 vision of what we thought our life would be like in 2020, because I thought that was so clever. 2020 vision. And so
Everybody did.
Yeah,
everybody
everybody
thought
did.
2020,
That is true.
and they didn't know it was going to get hijacked by COVID.
but not everybody brought in a graphic recorder to create a full-on like visual interpretation of what the family conversation
Yeah,
was like.
in real time. Like,
So Dan. So Dan.
Well, I had just been at a speech where I saw this done. I was like, this is so great. I want to do this with my family. And Maggie, you thought we were having like some kind of intervention, right?
No, it was just kind of like you doing your thing. Like, you very much like to like, I don't know, just...
Whose thing would I do other than my own, though?
No, but I can get aggravating sometimes. You have your dad whose occupation is a motivational speaker. You don't want your dad to be a motivational speaker 24/7. You know what I
get
mean?
it. Well, that's why I'm a weirdo on TikTok.
He's a weirdo all the time.
Yeah, I'm a weirdo all the time. So,
Even more so
but it was
in
interesting
person.
because in that conversation, we created the moment for it. You don't need the graphic recorder, but you could have a conversation with your family about what's important within your family. What do you intend for the future? What are your goals or aspirations? And so we were, in this case, talking about 2020, and we all predicted some things. Eddie predicted that there would be a worldwide pandemic that shut down the country.
No, he did not.
Yeah, no, he didn't. But that would be
my-
really cool if he did.
It's a little sus, Eddie. A little sus. No,
What-
it also didn't help that she was like drawing us in front of us.
Yeah,
like-
oh yeah,
Excuse me?
I loved my hair and
in the
and it was on
my
a
cartoon hair
canvas.
was beautiful.
Yeah, so you can't be like, oh wait, never mind, because she's already drawn it.
Yeah.
But a lot of
can't,
what we
like-
talked about actually came to some kind of fruition,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So do you have a goal for 2022? I know I said I'm not into goals and resolutions, but
Yeah.
I actually have some.
My word for 2022 is pursuit. I want to pursue a lot of different relationships with family, friends, spiritual. I want to pursue more job opportunities. I want to be just like really intentional about things, I guess. I want to book more acting roles. I want to be just in general more proud of what I do. I've always kind of had an issue that where like on my bucket list that I wrote when I was a lot younger, when I was auditioning all the time, something I wrote was like, feel confident and proud of an audition you did. And it took me years to check that off. Not because what I was doing was bad, but because of my mindset about it. Like, I find it very hard to look at something I do and be like, that's good. And so that's something I want to change and not be like conceited, like, oh my gosh, everything I'm doing is good, but just to be intentional about things, work on them hard, and then be happy with the result. But yeah.
Eddie, do you have a word?
Metamorphosis.
All right.
Yeah. I just thought of it.
Explain.
Well, I think this is one of like a period of time where I feel like I have a lot more control over myself. I'm not tied down to a specific location or like job, like and schedule. I think things are more fluid now, and I can kind of take all of that in like a cocoon, jumble it all around, like really think about things and do, and then hopefully not by the end of the year, hopefully like sooner than that, I can kind of turn it into something like a whatever it may be.
Transformation.
Some sort of transformation where I'm living the life that I want to live, and that sounds really exciting.
Yeah,
So.
that is exciting.
Do you have one?
I was thinking pursuit.
Or metamorphosis, maybe.
Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same though, because I'm intentional, I guess. Intentional more about my filming, my writing, producing, and just more focused, I guess, on me finally. I don't mean finally, because I've always loved everything that I've done, but like putting myself back in the crosshairs of my writing. And I don't want to produce everything I write, but I want somebody else to produce it. Be more selective and writing. So I guess writing, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I want to support that in every way I can. And for me, I think it's, Eddie, you nailed it earlier. I was thinking about momentum as just like, feel like things are good in my life. I feel like I want to keep my health on track, my business on track. I have a new book that I'm going to write this year. So that's going to be good. That's a big undertaking, and I've put it off for a long time, but I'm ready to commit to it.
That's
to another
exciting.
book. Yep. And one thing for sure, though, you're not going to donate another kidney.
Probably not. Not unless I've grown another one.
Can we talk about that? Because that was a question that came out as well. We mentioned at one point that Mom donated a kidney and just how amazing you are. I think that's awesome, and she sounds like an amazing person. I'd love to hear more about her story if she's comfortable talking about it. That's from Ellie. So do you want to go through that kidney story?
So I feel like you talked about it before on the podcast where you used to always say, I'll be surprised if you get out of this life with both kidneys, because I was always giving stuff away. And I do. I mean, if I have something that somebody can use and they need, and I don't really need it, I'm not attached to it, it's not important to me to keep, I'm all about helping others and providing other things. I love recycling and resourcing stuff, so I hate waste. I can't stand wasting, including wasting time. So anyway, so we got that email, and I saw it, and I had just tucked Maggie in, and we tucked the kids in, and we came in our room, and I said, did you see that email from Bob? And you said, yeah. And I just smiled.
I said, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And it was like a beat. And he goes, yeah, you're going to do it, aren't you?
So Bob was a friend of my mom's who sent out an email about his son, Connor, who needed a kidney transplant. Right. And he sent it to everybody he knew. Shay saw it and immediately was like, I have two. I might as well give him one.
Yeah.
And that was,
yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, because I was like a perfect candidate. And here's the funny thing too, is like when I got to the hospital to do some testing, they need to check your blood and, do some basic stuff. They said, we really want you to be the donor. And I was like, thought I was the donor. I didn't know there was any competition for this. I said yes, let's do this. And so I actually got interviewed on a radio station or a news station, and they said, well, what if they had selected somebody else? I was like, well, I probably would have given it to somebody else, because you
already made the decision.
Yeah, I'd already decided this, so it was like somebody was getting my kidney. So anyway, it was an amazing experience, excruciating.
Yes.
But here's the thing. I knew I just had to recover, and I was fine. I wasn't going to have to take anti-rejection drugs the rest of my life and whatever like Connor had to do. I didn't have the hard part. Although at the onset, I have the hard part and he has the easy part, because now his body has gotten a new kidney to, take the toxins out of his body and everything. So for him,
immediately he feels fantastic.
Immediately he was great.
And the recipient surgery is far less invasive.
Yeah. And so it was really, really hard. But it was about 8 weeks. And that's what Karen told me, my kidney sister. And because she had donated her first kidney to him. and it had gotten damaged during a
Examination,
biopsy.
Oh.
And so he needed another kidney. So she told me, you know, it was tough. Like, she didn't pull any punches. She didn't try to sugarcoat it. She said it took her a solid 8 weeks. And she was right. And so knowing that was like, okay, but then I was home free and never had any issues since. So I'd do it again.
What was that?
Nope. You
Well,
can't do it again.
if I had it to do over, I still would have done it, even knowing. But was the most painful thing ever.
What was
and I
that
had
like
a
for
ruptured
you?
ectopic, which was pretty painful, and it was like it eclipsed.
Really?
That.
Did you know that? Yeah.
But you get over it. You get past
Yeah.
it. It's just like you just get through it.
Yeah.
It's hard, and you know that it's going to get better. And then it does, and you're just like, it's like childbirth, I guess. You know, it's just like,
I would not.
I
know.
had cesarean. Well, I did have labor, but
So, what were your thoughts during that whole experience, the kidney donation thing? As kids, how did you process the fact that your mom was doing that? Was it weird to you, or
I was
No.
really young. It
Yeah.
kind of just made sense.
just kind of went with the flow?
Yeah. It was like,
Yeah, it almost seemed like it was something I thought that was a lot more common.
Yeah.
I feel like I understood it and really did admire it. And especially now, like after all this time, I don't know anyone else that's done that. And I think that just kind of really shows how incredible that was. So it's almost like I
And
didn't
how
even
incredible you are.
understand. Yeah. I didn't register how incredible that was. I mean, of course, and the fact that you were doing that to essentially save Connor's life, that was something that resonated with me. And yeah, yeah.
well,
I think it's incredible.
I wasn't technically saving his life. I was improving the quality of his life. But ultimately, yeah, you can't be on dialysis forever.
Yeah.
But I actually videotaped Eddie at that time because we documented along the way. You know, always the editor, always thinking about the, you know, capturing material. I said, you know, I may want to use this for something at some point, but I certainly want to document this experience. And it was a lot of fun when we had a lot of comedy in that. But I interviewed Eddie, and I intended to interview Maggie, and I just didn't get to it before. And Eddie it surprised me. You didn't want me to do it at first, and then you felt, oh no, at first you did. That's what it was. I think you said, no, at first I was like, I want her to do it because it's Connor, and then I felt bad because, well, wait a second, I don't want my mom hurt or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at your deep thought process that you went through and saying that to me on camera. And because it was just you and I in the living room. I just grabbed the camera and said, so what do you think about your mom donating a kidney? And I was just like, you from 2 years old, when having conversations with you would have like deep explanations and thought processes of what's going on. Nobody would ask you, you know, like, hey, you know, what's that? Oh, you know, it looks like this, but it could possibly be. And you just, I don't know. So it really surprised me. And it was kind of cool. And I gave you a hug and it was emotional.
Yeah, I guess it was a little scary. I mean, I really don't remember what exactly I was thinking going through that. I can only think, like, kind of assume what I think I remember. But
You were young.
Yeah.
You were really young.
yeah, I do feel like it's scary because there is a chance that, I don't know, it
Right.
could
That I
injure you, or you might.
I
Yeah.
could have died. And I
Yeah.
remember Maggie was really, I do remember you crying and being like, Mommy, what if you die? What if you die? And I'm like, sorry. And you were like, Mom, don't make jokes. But I couldn't help it. I said, well,
No, what did you say last night? You said last night we were getting ready to watch something, and she just goes, you know, if something happens to me, you guys should know you can turn on the heat for the house off my phone.
I was teaching him how to do that.
Mom,
One time, when I was living in Chicago, my parents were going to Georgia for a trip. And on the way out of the house, my mom, you know, they leave. They're driving. I was staying home with my sisters. And then my mom realized she forgot something. She ran back in and she looked at me and she said, okay, I've got it. Da, 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 da. And she gave me a hug and she said, oh, and by the way, if we don't come back, if something happens and something happens to us, have a nice life. And then she left
Oh my goodness.
and left me to just think about that for like the week that they were gone.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and in those days, you didn't like call every day because it was long distance.
No.
And, and especially if they went on a cruise or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we did talk about,
Your mom's amazing, though. And the layers of her amazement may unfold if you stay tuned to this podcast and keep following it over time. Did you guys know that, like, we for a long period of time, like, tried to have kids and couldn't. And we actually thought that we couldn't have kids.
Yes.
You guys are both miracles. And she mentioned the ectopic pregnancy.
yeah,
and all that
before
kind of
either
stuff.
of you were born, I had lost my tube in it.
Yeah.
Ruptured ectopic twins.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we're just so proud of you kids. I mean, both of you and not only what you've achieved, but more than that, who you are as people, how you conduct yourself in the world, how you take care of your friends, stand up for what's right. It's really pretty amazing. I can't imagine being more proud than I am as a father. And I know Mom feels the same way.
Absolutely. We're so blessed.
Yeah. Well, shall we move?
Leave? Shall we go get coffee? So this has been a longer podcast. So if you stuck around to the end, thank you very much. Probably means you're a real one. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You can go to our website and ask questions, www.wholesomechaos.com. And our other socials are just Maggie Thurman, Dan Thurman on all things except TikTok. My dad is Maggie's dad 123. Eddie is Eddie Thurman on everything except
probably,
Twitch.
It's Eddie Thurman on Twitch. Eddie_Thurman.
Whoa,
Thurman.
you say it.
Okay, Eddie_Thurman.
Amazing. And all these things will be linked wherever you're listening. But yeah.
And one of my intentions is to do what we can to grow the podcast, to scale what we've created in the first 6 months and really make 2022 a great year of growth for Mags and Dad's Wholesome Chaos. Yeah. So please help us out with that. Support our sponsors when we have those, and you can find them on our website. And also tell your friends and tell your family and other people in your life who might also benefit from this conversation, and we'll grow together. That would be amazing.
And one of my intentions for podcast 2022 is to kind of shift into a murder podcast where we just make it a true crime podcast.
Yay!
Oh my gosh.
I
know
don't think so.
how fun would that be if like around Halloween time next year, you guys actually just let me tell like a story, like all the murder podcasts I listen to, and y'all do the commentation. Can we do that?
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Actually, I have it on record.
Yeah, totally.
I'm down.
Okay, DM me cases you guys want me to cover. Oh my gosh, I'm like a crime podcaster.
Like, I did murder mysteries for years and years and years, but they were all fun. They were comedy. They weren't like real
Murder's
murder.
not fun, Mom.
No, it's not. I know. I that's what I thought you were going to do, a fun murder mystery.
We'll see. I'll take suggestions.
And we'll do a different like April Fool's podcast where we just make stuff up.
Where we just lie
Like
about
our regular
lives.
lives.
Yeah,
No, just kidding.
completely. And at the end, well, now they're going to know.
Now they're going to know.
Because I just said it.
Well, we just won't do it on April Fool's then.
Okay, tell you what. We won't do that.
Was that
That
it's
was-
not April. Anyways, as we were saying, thank you guys so much for listening. Eddie and Mom, do you guys have anything else you want to say? Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been real.
Sick. Well,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I love you guys.
I love you too.
Love you guys too.
And we all love you. Take care and have a great celebration. See you next year.
Bye.
Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
Everyone close their eyes, and on the count of 3, everybody look at somebody, and if you're looking at the same person and you make eye contact, you both are out. Ready? Set, go.
Wait, can we do that?
Oh, open them right when you say go.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Okay, redo.
Can we do that again? Yeah, I keep getting like light streaming across my face.
Okay,
so,
you're good. You're
yeah.
good.
You're
Okay,
good.
eyes closed. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Did anyone make eye contact?
Nope.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
You and Dad are out. Eddie and I win.
Now it's just us.
But wait. We laugh, look at each other. We're both out, right?
Yeah, I don't think I thought this through.